Hey everybody, my name is Kairos and today I'm going to be showing you 3 steps on how to become more powerful and reach your full potential in Zenith. Before we get started, I just want to say that while I am a Blade Master, these tips and tricks will be applicable for an Essence Mage mostly. In addition to that, I wanted to thank everyone for the support and feedback on the last video that I made. I really appreciate it, and if you haven't already, go check that out. Without any further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, starting things off with step 1. Your player stats. Everything in Zenith, of course, relies around your player stats. If you don't know how to increase your ability power and what enchanting does to your armor and the difference between unique and legendary gear and how that can affect your damage output and health and armor and crit chance, etc., then you're not going to be reaching the damage numbers and overall survivability that you could be reaching. Let me explain in more detail. Now, player stats and ability power can be a little confusing. I'll do my best to try and keep this as simple and concise as possible, so bear with me. Most of your abilities rely on AP. As you can see here, deal 100% AP damage to all targets in a cone in front of you. But what is AP? AP refers to your ability power. Your ability power is measured by your overall strength based on your 3 primary stats. But what are your 3 primary stats? Moving to the logout page, you can see these 3 primary stats. Your ability power is the sum of all 3 of these, which then leads us to, how do we increase our ability power? Well, that's where your armor gets involved. These little numbers that appear when you enchant gear increases your primary stat, and as a result, it increases your ability power and all your other stats. This is the purpose of enchanting your gear. Let me show you. If you've never used an enchanting station before, I'll make this quick and simple. When you approach it, you get presented with this. You click on the piece of gear you wish to enchant, and it appears. You require these little bags, the enchantment dust. To enchant it, you simply pull the lever. But what's the purpose of enchanting it? You'll notice that my level 41 legs have a primary stat of 47. My ability power is 876. When I enchant my gear, you notice it's going up to 49. For demonstration purposes, we'll increase that number a bit more. Now we're at 51. Let me quickly refresh my stats. And you'll see that I've gone from 876 to 881. Therefore, my godstones are now dealing much more damage based on just 2 upgrades. For those who are new to Zenith, in order to get this enchantment dust, you just have to dismantle certain rarity of gear. And that'll increase your enchantment dust. Now, of course, in terms of increasing your stats, your ability power isn't the only thing you need to focus on. As you can see, each piece of gear comes with bonuses. The legendary, since discontinued gear, comes with increased health, increased crit chance, increased to all main stats, and a slight attack increase. This refers to the other stats. This is where crafting gear also becomes important. Put simply, if you're looking at just the numbers, this has an armor of 252, and this unique level 13 has an armor of 216, you might think, oh, this level 20, it's a higher level, the number of 252 is much better than 216. And even then, the primary stat, 14 to 13, isn't that much of a difference. However, this one increases attack and defense, and it also increases armor, both tier 1. As you can see right now, my ability power is 365, my defense 672, my attack 187. Watch what happens when I equip the supposedly weaker piece of gear. My ability power jumps to 401, 647, and then 209. This concept is what makes crafting so important, especially with unique gear. And if you don't understand how your stats and ability power affect your gameplay, then just at glance, 216 to 14 is a lot worse than 252 to 13. But that isn't the case. And if you're confusing these or you don't know what you're looking for, you're missing out on so much damage potential. Once again, look at how much it drops. Now that we've covered ability power and how to increase your ability power, let's move on to step 2, godstones. As you know, godstones are the main source of all of your abilities and what you can actually do in Zenith. Being able to correctly select, upgrade, and modify your godstones is absolutely vital in how effective you can be in battle. Let me show you my godstones and how all the upgrades work to better explain. Jumping straight into it with the godstones, rarity is the same as your gear. It goes from common, uncommon, unique, magic, and then to legendary. I personally haven't been lucky enough to get a legendary ability, but that's beside the point. Now, how do we level up our godstones? This is relatively simple. They level up individually, independent of your primary level. They just level up by general use in game. They get their own separate XP. When you get a level, you get a point, and you can apply that point to level up an upgrade, which increases whatever stat it boosts. However, not all minor or even sometimes major upgrades actually complement your godstone. For example, this is a cadence ability. It'll activate every 3 downward strikes. Well, on the 3rd downward strike. On this ability, I don't need to worry about the resource cost of the ability because it doesn't cost me anything. It's going to activate on the 3rd downward strike. Additionally, I don't need to decrease the cooldown of this ability either because it doesn't have a cooldown. It's every 3 strikes. By upgrading this, it's not going to reduce to every 2 strikes. I tried it. So as a result, this basically becomes useless. This whole uncommon regular godstone is just a waste of upgrades. What we want is something that complements the godstone. For example, these minor upgrades increase the critical hit chance and increase the critical power of the ability. Those are actually useful and can be applied to this godstone. And that's basically the same story for all of them. And this is where choosing your godstones becomes important and actually paying attention to what they do. You want to make sure that if you have a godstone selected, if you have a godstone that you're leveling up, that the minor and major upgrades are actually going to be benefiting you in combat and not be completely redundant, like the cooldown on a cadence. Where this can get a little bit confusing is sometimes in the way things are worded. For example, my misfortune with Ghost Step. When I first got my unique Ghost Step and read the major upgrade that I get a 10% crit chance whenever the ability is used, with a 1 in 6 chance, I thought that wouldn't work. But to my surprise, I get the 10% hit chance when I dash. So this made me think, oh, maybe the critical hit chance of the ability will increase. But that's wrong. Because, as you saw, it was only a 10% crit hit chance. It wasn't then stacked to 11%. And this is because of the way it's worded. This increases the critical hit chance of the ability. The ability itself doesn't have a critical hit chance, so it's not upgrading anything. I just have a major upgrade, which just happens to give me a 10% crit chance. In case you hadn't seen my previous video, there is a fun loophole with the ultimate ability, where if you cast it, you can then quickly jump into your inventory, swap it out, you get it straight back. Now that we've covered the basics, let's move on to step 3, Godstone combos. Godstone combos is what I refer to when most or all of your Godstones feed into each other to create a combo to deal massive damage or healing potential. I'm going to show you how I've built my godstones to complement how I play and even heal myself despite the fact that I'm a DPS. And in addition to that, I'll give you some tips and pointers of things to take into consideration when building your own godstone combo. Let's get started. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this is where your own personal playstyle comes into effect. And what you pick and choose probably won't be the same as me. However, I'll use my godstones as an example as to how they all chain together, and I'll show you a few clips of me using this in battle. By no means is this necessarily easy to follow or always gets pulled off. I've no way mastered this, but you'll get the idea. Started off with my Ghost Step with a boost to 20% AP for attack, also with a chance for 10% increased crit chance. Followed by the Downwards Cadence, dealing 120 AP, but I also gain an extra 20% ability power for 4 seconds. Then, leading in with a Downwards Power Strike, where not only do I heal myself for 120% AP, taking into account the percentage buff I've already achieved, plus, due to my major upgrade, I boost my AP by 15% for 2 seconds at that point in time. I can then follow in with a quick left and right attack to hit off the Arm Breaker, which at base deals 180% AP and slows them down for 30%. However, if I manage to kill the target with that, I heal myself for 100% of my AP. Now, this is easier shown than said, but just take into account 100% AP plus all of the AP boosts I have gotten throughout my combo so far. I'll show you a clip, it'll make a lot more sense. This was when I was first attempting it, and of course it's not down pat, as you can see I'm level 35. Here, my AP boosts to 50% periodically before defaulting to 35, before I hit my final shot, overhealing myself to 5000 HP. This isn't a glitch, and this is a result of my godstone, because as you see here, I managed to pull it off for a second time. Now, in the next example, you'll see that I actually start to lose health, and as a result, save myself with the healing factor. And yeah. Now, I hope my combo made sense to you. As you saw, it's pretty overpowered when it gets pulled off. Some tips and tricks to be able to build your own flow of skills and abilities like this. So be sure to make sure you read all of your godstones in detail. There is some absolutely broken ones that can pull off crazy combos, and building it to suit your playstyle is really necessary, whether you're aggressive, you're a tank, you're support, you need to heal yourself like me, or whatever suits you. There's so many different ways that you can customize this. For example, if you're maining a support, an ability like this, healing allies for 60% AP over 8 seconds, when I hit off my horizontal cadence. It's got a cooldown of 8 seconds. Sadly, the minor upgrades don't affect the major upgrades, but as a support class, if most to all of your godstones are proccing something like this, plus you're stacking your ability power percentage before you hit that off, you're basically healing your allies to almost 100% of your AP in combat just by normal fighting. Alright, that sums it up for my 3 steps on how to become more powerful and effective in Zenith. If you found this helpful, please leave a like and subscribe for more content like this. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below and what you would like me to cover next. Thank you very much for the support, and until next time, take it easy.